I'm Anya Bartholomew, your local Utah real estate agent who also happens to be the #1 best-selling author of the book, The Future of Real Estate, and you might have seen my name on ABC, CBS, Fox News, Daily Herald, and a few other premium news outlets. And most importantly, in this channel, you will find a lot of Utah real estate market updates and also specific information on the southern Utah and Washington County that could make your buying decision ultimately most effective. After all, information is power. Do you agree? Exactly. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about pros and cons of living in St. George, Utah, but we're not going to include the economy, the economic perspective, the economic health of the southern Utah, the St. George area, and we're not going to cover the employment opportunity because it's very well described in the previous video. But you're going to learn a lot of other important considerations that are so critical for you before you decide relocating to Utah. And one more thing, in this video you will also learn an interview from a person who relocated to St. George, Utah 10 years ago. So you'll hear his perspective as well.
One of the reasons why I chose to live in St. George is that I'm a single father of 4, and I love the atmosphere, the family atmosphere, the community atmosphere that St. George provides. The last 3 years, we've actually seen a huge influx of families moving in from all over the country with COVID and all the situation we're dealing with there. St. George is a very welcoming community. We are becoming a very diverse community, which has changed quite a bit from the Mormon background that it started to the diversity that we're seeing now. I work with the residents of Entrada neighborhood, and I see people coming from all over the world, moving here and making this their permanent residence. One is because of our beautiful weather, but two, the family-friendly community atmosphere that St. George provides. There's always something going on between festivals or movies or art galleries or movies in the park. Not to mention, we live in an outdoor mecca. So if you and your kids like to be active and like to do outdoor sports, hiking, biking, canyoneering, water sports, St. George has year-round access to it.
You probably already know Utah is unique in terms of having a prevalence of Mormon culture. Mormon culture thrives on families, and another huge value in the Mormon community is actually education. And therefore, if education is important to you, you might find Utah quite attractive, for your kids to relocate. Elementary schools are wonderful, and the remarks that I hear from from children and from teachers and from actually parents of those clients of mine who relocated, they're saying that the schools are new, the schools are clean, and that's really important. They said the teachers really care. So overall, there are 12 elementary schools in Utah, 5 middle schools, and 5 high schools. And on that note, I want to use this opportunity to mention one very amazing, very unique high school here in St. George, Utah, Tucson High School of Performing Arts. 30% of the graduates actually access college. And that's a dedication to not only bringing the best of college education, but also to performing arts. And arts in St. George, Utah truly thrive. You have a variety of great choices in terms of colleges and universities also here in the southern Utah. There are many colleges, there are a few universities, and overall, there's a policy in Utah to raise the benchmark for the skilled labor, because we are crazy attracting new companies from all over, not only companies, but industries like solar industry and software industry from all over the United States. Well, we are actually trying really hard to make sure our kids who go to colleges and universities, they become those employees for those companies. So that's the big picture. It's a big umbrella of how our higher education is actually structured. And therefore, if you want the college that is targeting placement for your kids and a practical employment and jobs, you will find Utah very, very, very attractive. I might be biased. And even in 2015, St. George was ranked the #5th, the fastest growing metropolitan area in the United States. So we do have our attractive growth economically and population-wise. And I know it's really important before we consider all those wonderful perks economically and tourism and outdoors and recreation and spas and all of those packages that, so many different companies are offering here for, for outdoors recreation activities. We want to evaluate the safety of the city. And you might like to know that in 2006, St. George was ranked one of the safest cities in the United States. And if we take into account the overall trend for the last 2 decades in the entire state of Utah has been actually downwards in terms of crime. Our crime rate reduced by 30%, and we didn't have that much, to begin with. So I think the level of safety that is important for your family or individually, you might find it very, very compelling. Another quite unique advantage is obviously location. We're only 118 miles away from Las Vegas, and Las Vegas has amazing worldwide entertainment, and it's a big city. So if you ever crave that crazy big cities, you can always, go get in the car, get in the wonderful, beautiful shuttle, actually, air conditioned. Oh, you can do whatever you want, while you're driving over there, while they're driving you over there. Yes, and you can just, participate in whatever activities you want. This same thing with Salt Lake, 4 hours away, that's nothing, right? So my son lives in Salt Lake City, so 4 hours away drive, that's wonderful. You can just, we all know what to do when we're driving. So anyway, so location is amazing. Salt Lake City also has so many things happening there all the time. Well, let alone 11 skiing resorts, right? But even in terms of skiing, St. George is only 2 hours away from the closest ski resort. So don't think it's a warm climate. It's just, biking, hiking in the heat. No, there are ski resorts here in very close proximity. Then you will find yourself really enjoying all 4 seasons here in St. George at its best. Another consideration that might be important for you, not for everybody, but for some people, is shopping. So can you do quality shopping, retail shopping here in Utah, in southern Utah? Maybe not. However, when the digital age, you can always hop on the internet. But again, and the trend is going right there. So we will be buying more and more of those things online. We're going to have 3D, fitting rooms and all of that. It's coming. So if you are a little bit more of a visionary and long-term thinker, it's gonna be okay eventually. But for now, what do you do for now? Las Vegas. Las Vegas has amazing, you can go to Paris, you can go to Las Vegas, maybe a little bit of a difference, but anyway. So Las Vegas offers great shopping opportunities 2 hours away, and make it the whole overnight trip, stay in Las Vegas, do some entertainment, arts, and do some shopping. That might break up your, exercise routine. In terms of food shopping, I would not be concerned at all. There is an amazing store that I love. I absolutely love. There is Harmon's, the store that actually, when I lived in Salt Lake, we have Harmon's and we have Whole Foods, within close proximity. Whole Foods couldn't compete with Harmon's because Harmon's is going off the chart with innovation, with the selections, with the scale. It's like a mega grocery store. It's unbelievable. It's really the state of art with lots of mini cafes located right there in the store with the chefs, schools, and with the cooking classes. So yeah, Harmon's is going to be there. If Harmon's is in town, you should not be concerned about grocery shopping. But there are other choices as well, natural grocers, and some other options as well. Anyway, shopping going to be, in terms of grocery shopping, you're going to be just fine.
One of the reasons why I like to move down to St. George as well is because of the art and theater scene. It actually is growing in popularity. So we have a bunch of different options down here when it comes to theater. You have Tuacahn, which is actually the largest theater. It's an outdoor amphitheater. It does Broadway shows, Broadway in the Desert. You have Kayenta Arts Village, which also has the Kayenta Theater, which is a black box theater. There's St. George Musical Theater. There is the St. George Opera. And also, we also have the Southwest Symphony. So for a small town to have an actual symphony, that's pretty huge. So there's a lot of cool theater options to be able to enjoy when you're here in Southern Utah, as well as art galleries. We have different art galleries that are popping up, throughout town all the time. I think that there is 4 or 5 larger art galleries in the heart of the city that you can choose from. as well as they can to Art Village. They also have 4 or 5 galleries and stuff that you can go to with some pretty famous artists that have become local residents. So that's pretty exciting as well.
In this other video, I talked about more of a lifestyle. I talked about the weather, how you're gonna like or don't like the weather, how to adjust to the weather, how much snow we had. Well, we don't have a lot of snow, but sometimes when we do, it just melts by noon, and it doesn't happen very often, right? But the other video, I talked about the outdoors and all the entertainment activities. And one of the things I did not mention over there, and I want to kind of bring it here, is actually the nightlife. So we do have great options, and they're appearing more and more. It's a great trend for fine dining, for good restaurants, for good food. So there is some things that you can be doing in the evening. However, if you are more in the nighttime, if you want to have community, if you want to have sense of connecting with other, like-minded individuals in a different environment, you can go outdoors and, do all those great activities. But in the night, oops, 9 o'clock, everybody goes to bed. We could use a little bit of help. So come on over, help us solve that problem.
So St. George is known for being a tourist attraction. Like I said, we have people from all over the world who come. We have the World Ironman that's coming this fall. We have the St. George races. We have the Huntsman Senior Games. So tourism has been a huge part of Southern Utah for a long time. One of the things and stuff that we struggle with when it comes to tourism is our nightlife. People have a great time during the day and the hikes and the adventures that they go on. And then after dinner, everything basically shuts down in Southern Utah about 9 o'clock. And there's only a few places and stuff that stay open past that. So that's one of the things as a local that we're trying to improve on. And the city also is trying to improve on different nightlife options and different things that people can do after 9 o'clock. I myself am actually bringing a jazz club to Southern Utah. It's called the Beluga. We're hoping to be open this next spring, but it just depends on a couple of the things that we're dealing with right now. But there are a few different businesses and entrepreneurs that are popping up here and there downtown to actually provide tourism as well as locals something fun to do at night.
I want to also mention there is a video that I created on the overall pros and cons of living in Utah, and it's going to give you quite an overview of the entire state. Why it is important? Because this video, and specifically St. George and Southern Utah area, is very much along the trends and the pros and cons that I was describing in another video. The link is over there. And as always, if you find this information useful or insightful or thought-provoking, feel free to subscribe, because I post video about St. George, Utah and Utah housing market weekly, and you'll find it very, very important to stay up to speed in this crazy housing market.